Hello students, welcome back. So this is in continuation with our previous video where we have been studying about the stages of development of a transnational company. We had studied about three stages through which a transnational company passes through before it ultimately becomes a transnational company. Stage 1, domestic company. Stage 2, international company. And stage 3, multinational company. Moving on to the fourth stage of international Moving on to the fourth stage here, you have something called as a global company. So what is understood by a global company here is what the companies do is they set up a specific function in that country which is best suited for the activity. See, for example, a company has so many functional activities. It will be having production, it has marketing, it would be having R&D, and within production also there are different components of supplies which goes into the final production. For each of those components, it will establish a production of that particular raw material component in that country which is best suited. Okay, so in this way, a global company can base its operations. See, I'll give you one example here. Let us take an example of Intel. Okay, so it is into making microprocessors. Okay, so what does Intel do is the R&D. It identifies that United States is the best in terms of R&D, means it will establish its R&D activities in United States. It identifies that Mexico is best in terms of production of the various components that goes into a microprocessor. So it will establish production operations in Mexico. It notices that a country like Singapore is best, or a country like India is best in terms of assembling the products. So it will establish the assembling in a country like India. So what we notice is the different functional activities are located in those countries which is best suited for the activity. So what happens is now ultimately the microprocessors different components goes to a country like India where the assembling is happening, and from India the marketing takes place. Okay, India is probably identified as again one of the best hubs when it comes to marketing. So from India, the marketing takes place to the rest of the countries across the globe. And it is a standardized product. It is the same basic product which is sold to all around the globe. Okay, so the idea regarding a global company here is establish functional facilities in those countries which is best suited for that function, produce a particular product which is standardized. That is, it is the same basic product is sold for India, the same basic product is sold for US, the same basic product is sold for Mexico, the same basic product is sold for Singapore, etc. So this is the way in which a global company operates. Now, apart from Intel, if I can think of another company which operates as a global companies, we can even take the example of Harley Davidson. So Harley Davidson also adopts a similar strategy where they are selling the same basic motorcycles throughout the globe, but the production of these motorcycles is distributed. The other functional activities like R&D is also distributed in different countries which is best suited for that activity. Finally, you have something called as a transnational company. So a transnational company is a company which is similar to a global company. But however, the difference is a transnational company has two pressures. One is it faces a pressure for keeping its costs low. In case of a global company, what we saw is since they are producing in mass in one place and selling the same basic standardized products everywhere, their costs can get low. Whenever you're producing too many products in one place itself, your costs will come down because of the operation of something called as economies of scale. More and more units of a product you produce, the less the cost of each product will become. Okay, so this concept is applicable for a global company. But however, in a transnational company, it operates same way as how a global company operates, but the only difference is that apart from keeping their costs low, they also have to tailor their products according to the requirements of each and every individual country. All right. So what happens over here is they locate production facility in one place, which is best suited for production. They produce in mass that particular product. But however, please note, they produce only about, let's say, around 70% of the total product, of the finished product. They don't produce the entire 100% of that finished product here. Only 70% of the components of that product they produce in one place. They ship it to different locations of different countries. In that particular country, the remaining 30%, that local division will tailor it according to requirements of that particular country. See, take an example of a company like Pepsi and Coke. This is an example of a transnational company. So here you notice that for both Pepsi and Coke, the marketing may be the same. It is the same basic product. It is just a Coke drink made out of cocoa. So what we notice here is, in one particular country, production of that Coke syrup will basically take place. Okay. Now that syrup will be dispatched to different countries like India, Singapore, US, maybe even British, and some other countries here. What happens is, now Indians require, let us say, less of sweet. The American customers might require more of sweet. Okay, and the extent of fizz that is there in the Coke also might vary according to different countries. For some countries, they may have difficulty in digesting excess of fizz, but some countries, people will be easily able to digest that excess of fizz, okay, and the carbonated drinks. So what happens is that the Coke syrup will get produced in one country. That is the base. So if you produce a Coke syrup itself, it takes care of 70% of the entire Coke constituents. It is shipped to different parts of the world, to different countries. In India, what they will do is, according to Indian customers' requirements, they will add fizz and they will add sugar according to India to that syrup. In Singapore, they take the syrup, they will add sugar and they will add the fizz, the carbonated ingredients according to Singapore customers' requirements. So in this way, you're taking care of a basic standardization. 70% of the product is standardized across the globe. 30% of the product will be customized according to each individual country's requirements. So this is the way in which a transnational company operates. Similar to a global company, they will have production in that country which is best suited for production, R&D in that country which is best suited for R&D, and finance in that country which is best suited for finance. So all this it does. But however, after 70% of the product is produced, it gets shipped to different countries, and in that particular country, they will add the 30% of the components according to the requirements of the customers of that country. Okay, so this is how transnational company operates. But in a global company, if you see, everything is standardized. Okay, but in a transnational company, probably only 60 to 70% will be standardized and 30% will be customized. In multinational company, if you see, everything is customized. If you just go back and remember the content what I had spoke about. Okay, so this is the way in which stages of development towards a transnational company takes place. And by the time the company reaches a global company or a transnational company, they get more affiliated to that particular country, to that subsidiary company's country, to that host country, they get more affiliated. So what happens is, during the stage of a multinational company, they more focus on repatriating back the profits. But by the time they reach the position of a global company or a transnational company, they keep the profits in the host country itself. They reinvest the profits in the host country. They try to develop their company within the host country. They try to develop their subsidiaries within the host country, and keep paying good taxes to that host country's government. And thereby they become more or less like a citizen of that host country. Okay, and they get accustomed to the culture of that host country. All these developments are seen in by the time they reach a global company or a transnational company. So in the next video, I shall explain to you people about the next topic in module 6, which is structural implications and the various staffing approaches possible in a global environment. Thank you.